as we approach the conclusion of Tfilat Mincha that we will be davening together. When we recite Avinu Malkeinu, we will say, Avinu Malkeinu aseh lema'an harugim al shem kodshecha. We will ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to accept our tefillot in order to pay respect to those who died al Kiddush Hashem. Today we gather to daven Mincha together in order to pay tribute, to gather with Am Yisrael, who has davened together, to pay tribute and in memory of Rav Ari Fuld. Yesterday was a tragic day for the Jewish people. Rav Ari is a person about whom we can truly say dedicated his life to Am Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael, Torat Yisrael, and to his family. He made Aliyah in 1991, a tzanchen, a supporter of Israeli soldiers through organization that he started, a defender of the state of Israel in his online presence, a Rav, a teacher of Torah in Yeshivat Netiv Aryeh, and in many other places, and a person who had a strong connection to this institution on many levels. Rav Ari is a graduate of SAR Academy. His parents, Rav Yonah and Mary Fuld, before making Aliyah, lived and breathed SAR. Rabbi Fuld, Yibadel Chaim, Ari's father, was a principal, an administrator, and the lifeblood of SAR for more than 20 years. And the connection between the Fuld family and SAR and Medinat Yisrael, and the way in which all of those are intertwined, is a very, very powerful connection. And that connection was maintained. Rav Ari came back here to speak to our graduates just a couple of years ago. And I also want to call your attention to one other connection that I did not realize until last night when it was brought to my attention. We had a gathering and said slichot here, and a person came over to me at the end of the slichot and said, do you realize, and in the back of my mind I knew, but did not remember, but I'd like you to know so that when you walk through the building and into the Beit Midrash, you'll take note, that when you walk into the Beit Midrash, on the right side of the doors is a memorial for the Shoah. On the left side is a celebration of Medinat Yisrael, past and present. And take a look in there and you will see that in celebrating the success of Medinat Yisrael, we have the Tanakh and the dog tags of a soldier who defended the state of Israel. If you look really carefully, you will see that those dog tags belong to Ari Fuld. As the person pointed out to me, somehow it's in there upside down. And we saw it yesterday, the symbolism was just beyond belief. So as we gather together to daven, I think that what Ari would like is for us to have all of that which is most important to him in our tefillot. Am Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael, Torat Yisrael. I would like to ask Mr. Roschwalb to take a few moments and share personal memories of Rav Ari.
When I was 18, I was privileged to learn in yeshiva Netiv Aryeh for 2 years. It was there that I met and developed a relationship with Rav Ari Fuld. To me, Rav Ari was a teacher, a friend, a mentor, and an inspiration. I also want to mention that it is particularly difficult for me to be talking about Rav Ari in the past tense, as it was only just a few months ago that he and I danced together at my wedding. For starters, Rav Ari and I, along with many of my friends, used to tish on Thursday nights. These tishes were often followed by deep and meaningful conversations with Rav Ari that would usually go through the wee hours of the night. For Rav Ari, time was never a factor. He would stay up till 4 a.m. just to share thoughts of Torah and words of wisdom. One of the first times that he and I spoke one-on-one, I remember the conversation so clearly. We talked about having faith in Hashem. I had many questions at the time, and he stayed up till 4 a.m. in the morning, talking with me and answering all my questions. At about 2 in the morning, I remember asking him what time he has to leave to get back to his family. With a big smile, he looked me in the eye and said, "Yoram, you are my family." And that was just the start of our incredible relationship. I also remember visiting Israel for the first time since I studied there. It was my second year of college, and I went to visit during winter break. My first stop was to the Old City to visit my yeshiva. After getting out of the cab and passing through the Old City walls, Rav Ari was the first familiar face that I saw. I spotted him standing in a narrow alleyway. And what was he doing? He was secretly serving lunch to an old lady who was homeless. I watched him as he not only prepared the food for her, he also spoon-fed her, as she was pretty immobile. I went over to say hi to him, and together, he and I served this lady food in an attempt to make her feel special and loved. Because this is the type of person that Rav Ari was. While he may have been politically outspoken and perhaps controversial, he was also a man who cared deeply for others and would go above and beyond to help those around him, even those who he passionately disagreed with. I want to share one more story with you. Yesterday, I booked tickets to go to Israel for Sukkot. I know that may seem like last minute to some of you, but for me, I'm actually a few days ahead of schedule. Immediately after booking them, I called my sister and my brother-in-law to share the news that I'd be visiting. They live in Israel. My sister told me that my brother-in-law, his name is Benji, was on his way to the funeral with my mother. Now, Benji had also gone to Netiv Aryeh, so I assumed that he was close with Rav Ari as well. So I called him right afterwards to see if he was okay. He actually informed me that he didn't talk to Rav Ari all that much. A bit confused, I asked him if he was perhaps close with one of Rav Ari's relatives, to which he again replied, no, and continued to share with me why he absolutely had to be at Rav Ari's funeral, which took place at 11:30 p.m., despite not being so close with Rav Ari. He shared with me that he remembered his very first week of yeshiva. He was walking up the stairs into the Beit Midrash for night Seder with his friend, and while walking up those stairs, he jokingly referred to himself as an idiot, as he had just realized that he'd forgotten his glasses in the dorms. Rav Ari was walking by at that moment and overheard him. Rav Ari went out of his way to introduce himself to Benji and told Benji that he should never think so lowly of himself, for he is a child of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who has so much to give to the world that even joking in a self-deprecating way is so terrible. Rav Ari continued by saying that if he, Benji, ever needs to be reminded of that, Benji should call him directly and he will stop what he is doing to give him a pep talk. And so Benji explained to me last night that there is no way he could not be there to honor the very person who was willing to bend over backwards for him and go out of his way just to reassure Benji how great he is. Rav Ari was and will always be one of the most inspirational people in my life. And may we be zochet to continue his legacy of spreading love to those around us and to be a shining light in what can sometimes be a dark world. Thank you, and may his neshama have an aliyah.